Happy Tuesday, everybody. And it's Tuesday night, and it's another edition of the Final Whistle here on the Bama Standard Network or the Final Whistle Network, whichever one. We're all over the place. Before we ask you to hit that like, subscribe button, follow everybody at the bottom. But listen, if I had to go to war with these guys, these are the guys I want to go to war with. And let's introduce the cast. In the middle, our lead recruiting analyst, the guy who had a birthday celebration not too long ago, so he was busy. The one and only Dan James. How are you?
Always good. Good evening. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday. And speaking of Tuesdays, the guy who put me on Fat Tuesdays down in New Orleans, the one and only Daniel Pettey. How are you, sir?
Doing great. No Fat Tuesday drinks tonight, just my Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Got my 18th Dr. Pepper. I might have to go pee.
I love it. And ladies and gentlemen, the guy who is all the games, the fantasy games, I think he's a part of Ravenclaw, Gryffindor. One of them, I don't know which one it is. He's around the tables, sports, the one and only, the legend, Ty Hayes. How are you, sir?
I am actually a Gryffindor and disappointer of Grandalf. So,
Grandalf. I love it. Gryffindor, Grandalf. And ladies and gentlemen, I got a new nickname for Chris. CBS receipt, because when he names players, he's going to give you more than like a CBS receipt, something like this. So that's Chris James.
I just tell you what it is, dog. You know what I'm saying? Can't help it. It's big bad Bama, baby. You're going to get all the facts from me. You're going to get everything.
CBS receipt himself, the one and only, Chris James. How are you, sir?
Man, these allergies kicking my butt. I ain't even going to lie, man. I don't know what's in the air, dude.
Man, allergies kicking your butt. And our brother Lou can't be here, but hopefully he'll be able to join us. But
get power back.
Yeah, get in the chat, everybody. Let us know if you got any questions, comments. Keep them going. We got an exciting show today. We got a lot to talk about, but we're going to talk about NFL draft things, next year draft, Alabama football. Listen, but if you want to have a number one franchise stone pick in your yard, go to realrockstone.com. That way you can have that number one franchise stone and you can brag to your neighbors and have the winning lawn in the neighborhood. Pettey, can you tell us more?
That's right. Hey, win that house draft. And when we say win the house draft, that's have that best house in the neighborhood by having some beautiful limestone all over it. Go to realrockstone.com. They are located in beautiful, picturesque Aniana, Alabama. They're one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. And if you tell them we sent you using the promo code the Bama Standard, you will receive 10% off your purchase of stone today. So give Limestone and realrockstone.com some love after the show, of course.
Give them some love after the show. That way you can have that hard-looking lawn. So, guys, let's get into a big weekend. We promised we're going to talk about Alabama players in the NFL draft recap. And we're just going to go around the table, and whoever wants to go first, let us give us your thoughts on Alabama players in the draft and, just kind of recap, what kind of stood out to you. Chris, we'll let you go.
I was shocked to see Booker go so high. I think he went 12th overall. That was a pleasant surprise to the Cowboys. So he's going to see those Eagles D linemen, Jalen Carter, those guys twice a year at least. That's going to be those are going to be some very interesting matchups. I think Milroe went somewhere that's good and safe for him because he gets to see Sam Darnold. He's not thrown into the action, so he gets to sit because Sam Darnold is going to be at the helm for at least the next couple of years. So he gets to sit and learn. And if he's ready and they want to move on for Darnold, so the ball is in the Seahawks court. They're playing with house money right now. As far as Jahad Campbell, Another Eagle, man. Another Bama Eagle.
How do they keep getting away with this? How does Howie Roseman keep getting away with this?
Well, not only that, they got Smell Monday from Georgia too, which is crazy. So yeah, so that's big, man. But I'm happy, man. I'm happy to see Robbie Oops go.
Seahawks.
And, yeah, I'm happy to see him go, somewhere with somebody he's comfortable with, Miro. But I wish Dupree would have gotten drafted. But other than that, man, I'm pretty pleased. And with the few amount of draft picks we had, it just shows how much Bama is returning. Bama is returning a lot of guys, and I think next year those draft numbers will double with next year's class.
For sure. Great point. To your point, Chris, I was glad to see all the linemen. I saw a lot of NFL teams drafting in the trenches, whether it was defensive linemen, offensive linemen. Campbell went first, then Booker comes off the board. So it's glad to see the big boys get off the board. So, Dan, I got a good question for you. Seeing the success of offensive linemen, Tyler Booker, J.C. Latham, it looks like Alabama continues to put a first-round premier offensive lineman in the NFL draft, and now they're able to do it under Coach Cap. Do you think is going to make a difference on the recruiting front with some of these premier offensive linemen coming in this class or guys we're trying to recruit?
Without a doubt, Alabama is still the gold standard, so, whether or not we had a guy taken in the first and second round, it wouldn't have mattered, what I'm saying, because Alabama's proven track record of putting guys and have not only putting guys in the league, but those guys having success in the league. So, it's like they say, it's easy to recruit with the script A. So it doesn't matter who's at the helm. Alabama is still the gold standard of college football.
Great comment there. Dan, is there anything you want to add that kind of stood out for you from Alabama's standpoint regarding the draft?
Not really, but I have to say that I love where Jahad Campbell went, and the Eagles, I mean, how could other teams let the Eagles get Jahad Campbell? So
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the Eagles are gonna continue to dominate, their division. And still and the NFC as well, so I don't see them falling off anytime soon, just simply because of the success they've been having in the draft.
I agree. And it's just I just love how they draft, and they were high on Jahad Campbell. Reports were saying they were looking to trade up to 22 with the Chargers to try to get Jahad Campbell. That just shows you how highly they thought of Jahad Campbell, a guy who can do it all, who I think is a major steal to get him at 32. Super Bowl champs, you just reload. That's just crazy. I'm going to go to Ty, then I'm going to go to Pettey because I want Pettey to kind of talk about some other schools. But Ty, give us your take on the draft and, maybe overall – Chris mentioned Booker, but talk about how you think Alabama did in this draft and the effects of maybe, next year or just the hunger that guys going to have under DeBoer year 2. Just want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, the player I was happy with all the guys naturally, right? Us being Alabama fans, we always want these guys to go as high as they possibly can to the best situations. But Q-Rob, I was so happy with
Denver.
That's Q-Rob got drafted, where he got drafted, because the NFL saw what I saw on tape, which was a guy that tremendously improved, not only from last year to this year, but throughout the year, was making jumps in his play and his production and everything. And I was so happy to see him go. Now to Dan, the question you asked Dan and then asked me, I'm going to take a little bit different approach to this, and Dan kind of went the same way with it. I'm just going to take it the next step. I don't know that Booker getting drafted in the first is the litmus test for Cap, because Booker was going to be a first rounder. I'll tell you who I think is the litmus test that should already get people excited who didn't even go in the draft, and that's Caden Proctor. Because people are already talking about him in the first round next year based off of what we saw. Now, freshman Caden Proctor was a freshman, but he had some holes that he was trying to work through. Coach Cap comes in there. We see the sacks get cut in half. And Booker is putting some great things on film while playing hurt 98% of the year. I mean, had the clip that went viral where he blocked 2 guys with one hand. And he is putting some real impressive work on tape. And I think just another year, that's the litmus test where people are going to be like, oh, Alabama just sent a guy possibly top 10 in the NFL draft in Caden Proctor. Like, that to me is the litmus test, and that's the guy I'm really excited about. But I have a hot take, which we'll get into whenever we talk about next year's players. Bama's going to send 2 offensive linemen in the first round of the NFL draft next year. Book it.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Let me get to my main man. Great point, Ty. Chris, what are we gonna say before I go?
How many first rounders will Bama have next year?
That's our next topic. Can we get the Ty first?
Okay.
Can we get the Ty first? That's why I call him CBS receipt, guys, because the list.
You know where we going. You know where we going with it.
It's a list, guys. Pettey, you're Bama / Ole Miss, and the Ole Miss had a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I just want to get your thoughts overall of the SEC. I mean, I look at some teams and I'm like, I don't know how they did not,
win more.
We're not winning national. I look at South Carolina.
Look at South Carolina and Ole Miss. Hey, if you look at that draft, you're looking at 3 teams and saying, what the hell happened? Ole Miss, South Carolina, and LSU.
Or Texas. I feel like Texas had a lot
Texas
of guys.
was there, but LSU literally sent their entire offensive line in the draft. They should have not been able to been stopped on offense, and there was problems there. But to your point, 79 SEC players got drafted. It was a record for any conference. It was the SEC Invitational, and I agree. At the end of it, as an Ole Miss fan, I think a lot of people are celebrating. Man, 7 players drafted, more than anybody in Ole Miss history, and I'm looking at it like, and you didn't make the playoffs. Well, that really adds to the whole Lane argument there, doesn't it? But, you shit the bed against Kentucky. You shit the bed. But not even that. You had your chance against Florida, and that's the one that me and Ty were going back and forth over Dart this weekend. But apparently they saw something in Dart. They saw something in these kids. But, yeah, it was the SEC Invitational. Again, and you talk about South Carolina. You had Kennard go. You had Tank go to the Raiders. I thought the Raiders had a hell of a draft, by the way, picking up 2 big defensive linemen interior late in the draft from the SEC, and J.J. Pegues from Ole Miss, and the Hemingway kid from South Carolina, just blustering that. But then you saw Kennard go. It was just, again, man, we're going to see. It was the SEC Invitational. But you made a great point. There's a couple of teams that need to look at that draft and say, shit, did we underachieve this year? Because I do. And that brings it back to Chris's point. Bama had one of their lowest outputs in draft history and still were 1 game away right there on the cusp of making it to the playoffs. You got a bunch of these guys coming back. That bodes well for the Tide, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what we're going to say, Chris?
I'm sorry. I want to get back to Pettey on that. I still don't understand that Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. Like, that's something that I just would never.
Your field goal. Look,
man.
Okay. Kentucky had to play one way. They play their Kentucky way, and that's take the air out of the ball and make you score on the 4 possessions you get. Ole Miss came in overconfident. That's where you can claim it on Lane. But even with that, you have a 45-yard field goal on a guy who was up for the damn draft. All he's got to do is make a field goal. You go to overtime, you still squeak it out. But that's one where I think this team. That's where Lane Kiffin's got to overcome some stuff. I think he's come a long way. If you've watched these latest interviews on Turning Point, or what's the not Turning Point, what's the Pivot. He did Pivot and he did the Theo Vaughn, and you're seeing an evolution in Lane as
Theo
a person.
Vaughn, I love Theo.
That was great. But you're seeing the evolution of Lane, the person. He's maybe grown up. His kids are living with him again. He's a different person. But he's still got that one thing, and that's overcoming those games, the Kentucky game. But, hey, you talk about Kentucky. He had a chance to redeem it. You beat Oklahoma, then you beat Georgia, and then it comes down. You put yourself in the playoffs, and all you got to do is go to the swamp. And I say all you got to do is go to the swamp. Like that's an easy damn task. But in a year where you are more talented, guys, we're going to throw a number. Forget the draft picks. Never in Ole Miss's history have they done something. I don't know if people noticed. They were number one offensive scoring team in the SEC and number one defensive scoring team.
And had led the country in sacks, right?
Led the country in sacks. They were the best defense and best offense in the SEC. Didn't make the championship, didn't make the playoffs. That's
Ty,
man.
That's insane. That's insane.
I want to come to you real quick. I know the biggest winners, as we mentioned, the SEC and the Big Ten. I mean, most of the players came from those top schools, right? It's like the rich getting richer. Does that have some effect on, players who are, in this whole transfer portal NIL era? Do you think that, maybe a negative effect of guys trying to leave when at the end of the day, it's still the SEC and Big Ten teams that are still putting out the top draft picks in the draft? Or what are your thoughts on that? It don't even have to be negative or positive. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
No, I mean, I think it's a positive, right? I mean, guys, before the major landscape shift in college football, where the Big Ten added in the brands they added and the SEC added in Texas and Oklahoma, there was a kid who was looking at Texas and a bunch of other SEC schools. He said, man, I'd really like to play in the SEC. Now, Texas ended up in the SEC. He committed to the Horns. He was an in-state kid. But as much as he always loved the Horns, the SEC brand carried something for him. This is only strengthening that. And if you're in the transfer portal, if you have the ability to go to the SEC, you want to go. Listen, I think Pettey just made a great point about the outlook of Lane Kiffin that, quite frankly, I don't know if that's talked about enough. So, Pettey, I think that you did a great job pointing that out. And honestly, man, that's something that should really be expanded. Because Lane, it's almost like a light bulb clicked. When Saban retired, it's almost like he had that self-reflection moment. I think, rest in peace to his father. That was very hard. But with Monty passing and with Saban exiting college football, it's almost like he looked around the landscape and that light bulb went off with everything my dad's told me, with everything Saban's told me. And he genuinely, if y'all haven't seen it, Pettey hit the nail on the head. That pivot interview is phenomenal, where he was sitting there and he's like, I get it now. He said at the time, Saban would come in 7:30 in the morning and I'm mad. Why do we have an interview at 7:30? But now I understand. He gets Saban now. He gets everything. And that to me is awesome. But if you're a team not named Ole Miss, maybe worrisome. Because we know the guy can coach. It's finite things that, Pettey, you and I have always talked about it. Sometimes I thought Kiffin would coach with more, excuse my language, balls than head.
Yeah.
Right? Like he would go out there just trying to have a pride
That's a
thing.
great analogy.
Like an ego thing. 2 years ago against Bama, I think he had a path to make it a game, but he was like, no, this is what I thought would work. It's not working. We're going to keep doing it until it works. I don't know that you're going to get that Kiffin anymore. I really don't. And I'm fascinated to see what that looks like.
Yeah, it's interesting because you brought up the Saban stuff. He was like, it's like your dad. You fight with your parents until you get out of the house and you become your parents. And a lot of people don't want to believe. They want Kiffin to be this freshwater guy. They want him to be this fun guy. And you realize he doesn't drink anymore. He's not that guy. But more than anything, he took ownership to the mistakes. He said, my wife left me because of me. It was my fault. These things are my fault. And now he's got his family coming back and his son's moving to Oxford. His ex-wife is leaving LA to move to Oxford, Mississippi. It's just a different dude. So I don't know, man. The big mark on him, again, you look at the draft. I know we got way off on a rabbit hole, but you look at these SEC programs that did so well and question why they didn't win. But you go back. Kiffin's maybe one of the more interesting people in all of college football right now because of that. It's almost like a TV show. He's got a character arc. He's got one of the craziest character arcs in our lifetime of watching a guy go from getting way too much more than he deserved way too fast and keep getting it. And to the point he just got humbled, and then taught. And it's just an interesting experiment. But like you said, he's doing it at Ole Miss. And He just lost a lot of talent to the draft. There's the question for Ole Miss. Now, can you be what Bama and these upper tier programs have been for so long? Georgia, Alabama, LSU, where the draft murders you, but it's not a big deal because you replace them with other guys. And that's where we get back to Alabama. Man, Bama lost 5 guys. We're going to get into it. I think this team is – I think that's the scare. It's the team everybody's wanting to write off because Saban's gone, and now we can not worry about them. Now you might want to start worrying.
Ty, what were you about to say? And I'll close.
I just want to, I want to get philosophical real fast with this. A father passing can do insane things, right? And what I mean when I say that is whenever you have your father, and I'm speaking from experience because you guys know I lost my father in 2018, right? And even as someone who always was like trying to listen and understand what he said, whenever you lose that voice, now all of a sudden, instead of just like hearing the words and that's it, now you're looking for the meaning in the words because you don't get to go back to that person. So now everything you've ever been told, instead of just sitting there and being like, yeah, dad said this, now you're really looking for the meaning in what was told to you. So when you have your father pass and then someone who completely springboarded your career in Nick Saban, and now he's not in college football anymore, now you're looking for the meanings in why did they do these things? Why did they say these things? What does this mean? And that's happened for Kiffin. And I'm really happy for him. I'm really rooting for him. I'm excited to see what Ole Miss does.
Well, hey, that is a great philosophy right there.
I'm still tired.
Love that. Love that stuff.
The dad stuff is huge.
Yeah, that's huge. I love the philosophy. So, guys, I'm just going to kind of put a bow on it. You know, Tyler, I think all the guys drafted kind of went to a great fit. I mean, starting with Tyler Booker going to the Dallas Cowboys, all the offensive line tradition that they have, going to play for the Stars, Jahad Campbell, Dan and Chris hit their head on it. I mean, the Eagles were high on this kid. And Pettey, you're gonna love this. Jalen Milroe to the Seahawks.
I think that was a great. I'm gonna bounce some questions to you guys. I'm gonna throw one at y'all because I think Booker. Man, I think Booker could have gone top 10. Look, it's a draft that was light in several positions, quarterback being one. And when you can get a guy that's far superior at his position than everybody else in a place that's light, that can give you a decade at a cornerstone position, you take that guard and don't even blink twice. I thought the Dallas pick was one of the smarter picks in the draft.
Dallas had a good draft.
Campbell, I thought Campbell was going to go to Tampa. When they went offense, I was kind of shocked. I was really hoping he would wind up in Tampa. It's a great defense, but hell, the next best spot would probably be Philadelphia. I want to ask y'all, and I'll get to Milroe because I know we've had so many debates on Milroe, but I don't think it could have worked out much better. And I thought Seattle drafted beautifully, getting Arroyo and Oots. They got a double tight end. I mean, they really loaded up at the tight end position. But who do y'all think outside of Booker and Campbell has the quickest path to the field in the NFL of the other guys drafted?
Well, let's lay it out. You got Milroe at Seattle, Malachi Moore at the Jets.
Yep.
Q-Rob at the Broncos.
Denver. That's the one.
And then Robbie Oots at the Seahawks.
And Williams went to Indy, right?
Yeah. Tim Smith.
Tim Smith.
The Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say definitely Booker.
I think Booker starts day one.
Yeah, I think Booker starts day one.
But you said outside of Booker and Campbell, though, right?
Oh, outside of them? I'm going to go probably I don't know. I'm going to say mine, but I want to hear y'all's thoughts. I don't want to hog it.
I know, Ty. Let it rip.
Malachi. I thought
Jets.
that was a great pick. Guys, this guy has battled injuries every year since his freshman year, had a year where he was fully healthy and was a cornerstone, not only for the defense, but for the team. Whenever you heard about the Jets draft him, they said Brian Branch, and I guess the someone for the Jets had talked, and they were blown away by
the head coach who used to be the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions contacted Brian Branch about Malachi Moore.
Rave reviews.
Yeah.
I think it's Malachi. I think that his best football is still in front of him.
Chris, your take.
Yeah, I like the Malachi pick, but think about it. I think that Q Robinson's ability to get after the quarterback is going to be big in Denver because pass rusher doesn't grow on trees. They don't grow on trees. So I think that his ability to be a guy off the edge that makes a lot of creates a lot of havoc, I think that would be invaluable, and he will see quick playing time in Denver.
I agree with that
because they still looking for a guy to replace Von Miller. It's going to be that guy that just stays in the quarterback's lap.
Dan.
I'm going to say without a doubt, Ty. It's Malachi with the Jets. You think of Alabama, the success of Alabama DBs the last few years, and considering the reviews he got, from Brian Branch, I'm thinking, the quickest path to playing field it has to be Malachi.
Ty, your thoughts? I mean, Dan, Pettey, sorry.
I would lean probably Q at Denver, but I'm going to throw a curveball to all the fans.
I've been waiting on this. Honestly, I can't wait.
I do think because he's got Sam Bradford to work with, but his athletic ability is going to be too much of a tempting fruit for an NFL. And it has worked. I know Ty's not a fan of this because you can get pegged, but it's shown there are examples out there of guys like Antoine Randall that they let play a different position, Cordell Stewart, that they ended up morphing into a quarterback and having a pretty good, career at it. I wouldn't be shocked to see some, because he's just so damn dynamic, to see some packages where we see Jalen Milroe in a Taysom Hill type role on that field first year Seattle.
And can I add, the only reason I say this, because it looks like Seattle with Mike McDonald, who came from Baltimore, he is basically replicating everything that basically happened at Baltimore in Seattle. I mean, he got a fullback. He got a dynamic quarterback who can do it all. Baltimore did that with Lamar, not trying to make any comparisons. But his offensive coordinator is what really kind of got me digging into the weeds as a perfect fit. Kubiak, who came from the Saints, who's big on play action. If you remember his dad, Gary Kubiak, huge, big on play action, rolling out, getting the quarterback out, having different packages for playmakers. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Jalen Milroe went to probably one of the better fits out of all the QBs. Probably, I think Jason Dart had a good.
I think that Jackson getting Dayball was a good.
Yeah, and then having two veterans in front of him, I think.
Yeah, you don't. There's no pressure on Jack. I mean, Russell. You're going to get through the year with Russell and the best. I love Jameis. Just gives me more opportunity watching Jameis Winston. But yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I don't think it could have been a better fit for Jalen. I would have liked the Steelers. I think is a great organization that develops players. But they lost their damn mind at some point in the draft, and they're usually not an organization that does that. But I know that I don't have many fans, but the few I have out there that love my Milroe are probably like choking on their dinner tonight. But I'm excited to see if they have some packages for that kid in the upcoming season.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's shift gears from this year's draft to next year's draft. We kind of got into it. We talked about SEC teams who had large numbers and to prediction for next year. So, guys, we're looking at, Ty mentioned Caden Proctor.
Top 5, possibly.
I saw obviously if it's not for the quarterbacks, I saw one mock draft. They had him the number 1 overall player coming off the board. But, it's a big QB class next year, but easily top 3, top 5 as of right now. Dan, I'm going to start with you. Looking at next year's draft, what are some potential first-round names? And, I'm going to add a kicker to it. What does that certain players need to do to get in the first round?
Okay.
Stats-wise.
Okay, well, stats don't really determine the first round. It's a lot of other things, interviews, combine, so pro days, those tend to affect where you go and need and fit. But it definitely starts with Caden Proctor. But obvious choice. But two more I could see going in the first round. I seen a few mocks where you had LT Overton. Mm-hmm. I think another good year from him. Because he's a guy who can play inside, outside with a 3-4-5 technique. So which is a premium position. And he productive season for him. I could see him going first round. Jaden Roberts. He's a guy that I have as a first round grade. Another good season out of him. We can see him going, but those are the three that stand out. And depending on the type of season. Now, this guy maybe stats will probably help him, and that is Deontay Lawson. That's interception, sacks. He really have to ramp that up. So now that's a guy where stats probably could affect where he goes.
You went with D, but I was hoping you were going another player.
I thought he was too.
I thought you were going another player. Chris, give me your take on this topic next year.
Oh, here we go. Here I'm gonna have to come up and get my list of names because mine got to get knocked off.
I think that potentially the Money Jackson.
That's what I was thinking.
First out the board because with a good combine, he's
and
going
like 4 picks, 4 or 5 picks.
He's going, the dude's about 6'2", almost 6'2", 190, almost 200 pounds, runs a 4.3. He's going to kill the combine with a low 4.3. He's going to jump, he's just going to be a combine freak. And then he's going to have a lockdown season, and corners are a premium, good corners like that. And teams are looking for the next Surtain. So with that being said, I think he has a chance to go top 10, sneak into that top 10 because he's already a combine killer. He and Proctor are locks. I think that Jaden Roberts and then Brailsford comes out.
That's what I was thinking. Brailsford.
Parker's
Lawson is a sleeper. Overton, and safeties don't really typically go in the first round. But I can see Saab making a big push. But the guy I'm thinking is going to be tricky, depending on the season, is going to be between Isaiah Horford.
I knew if this went on long enough that my list would just get steadily.
I know he takes off all
he's going to be a receiver. Horton or Bernard. One of those two. Whoever has the better season is going to have a leg up.
Well, give us your next 5 before you move on.
I think those are the guys who's going to be in consideration. And I think that the line will be 3.5. Over and under on first rounder for Bama next year. I think it's gonna be at 3.5.
I agree with that. I think that's a good number.
Dan, since Chris took all the names in history, almost give us your take, you and Ty, about this.
I'm just gonna give one, and it's one he did mention, but I'll go a little deeper into it. And I think it's Isaiah Horton. I think Horton could be. I think he's the X factor in what takes this offense from what it was last year to the next level, where it was just Ryan Williams, and then we finally found Bernard later in the season. Isaiah Horton's an NFL body receiver. So this is what can make Ty give that Mac Jones 1 year, and I look like a star. If he can find Horton and they hook up, and Williams is a known, Horton's an NFL body right now, though, and if he becomes that guy and he puts it's dependent on numbers, like y'all talked about with some of these other guys. But if he gets the targets, he's got the NFL body. He could slide into that first round.
Mr. Hayes,
I completely agree with Isaiah Horton. That was someone who I was debating. I would go over on the 3.5 line. For me, it's Caden Proctor. All right. It's LT Overton, because if LT Overton even converts half of the pressures he had last year into sacks, that's a lock. That kid's going top 15. He's going top 15 if he even converts half, because he was top 5 or top 10 in the nation in pressures.
Yeah.
It was just getting home. If he does that, it's over. So there's 2. Parker Brailsford, guys. A center who is – everybody said, okay, well, the size is a bit of a concern. He went to the SEC and was almost the best lineman we had last year, which is crazy because you had Tyler Booker. But I mean, Parker Brailsford was an incredible get by this staff, bringing him over from Washington. So there's 3. And then Damani Jackson. Chris talked about this. The kid ran a 10.25 100-meter dash as a junior in high school. He's fast. He's got the size. And last year was only the first time since I believe his sophomore year in high school, he was able to play a full year of football. Now, the difference between Damani and some other players is when you hear that, usually you're like, okay, injury concern. Damani got banged up at USC for 1 year, but he had an injury his junior year, which was a foot. His senior year was the pandemic, so he wasn't able to play in California. He redshirted at USC the first year. He was dealing with some injuries on and off the second year. Last year was the first year of full football he's had since sophomore year, and he was already good. He was good in press. If he got beat off the line, there was a clip that was so funny to me. It was one of the first games of the season against Western Kentucky, and I know people can say, oh, Western Kentucky, hear me out. He went to jam this receiver, and the receiver did a great job. He swatted his hands at the line and got an outside release.
Hold up.
Everybody okay?
Mom, meatloaf!
Mom, the meatloaf.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. But the receiver swats his hands away. The receiver gets an outside release, and you're thinking, 9 out of 10 times, man, he just got beat. Nope, not Damani. He's side shuffling next to this guy as this guy's in a full sprint, and Damani is completely facing him, just side shuffling down the sideline, staying with him. And I laughed so hard for so long because I was like, oh my God, if this kid keeps developing, it's over. So I have 4 right now.
I like it.
I love that. I think that's a great point. That's it's center. It kind of falls under the Proctor category. You got an offensive line player you can plug and play for a decade as a starter. You freaking take them whenever you can get them.
And not only can he play center, he can play guard.
Yep.
Right? That's something that we need to talk about as well, because if Bama gets in a position this year where we're like, okay, we know Gino Vandemark can play center, but we just don't know that he's as good of a guard as he is a center. Parker Brailsford can kick out and play guard. Like, that right there, to me, is going to be what makes him an NFL guy that teams are clamoring for. And he proved he could block the big body SEC guys with ease.
And we don't even need to talk about 27 because we know it's going to be Ryan Williams. Chris, what are you about to say?
No, I'm with you, Ryan. The talk of 27 is going to be who's going to be first, him or
Smith.
Or which receiver you want to take. So get in the chat. Let us know your thoughts regarding the 26 prospects. I said products. So guys, let's listen, if you need a great Crimson official Alabama Crimson Tide title towel. No, that was a lot of words.
TTT.
TTT. Go to wetwillsports.com, get you a title towel. As you can see, it's made with Egyptian cotton.
Egyptian guy, no.
Yeah.
It's 1 billion thread count. It's so soft.
Is that velvet?
What is it? Velvet?
What is it? Velvet? Go to Title Towel, get you a title towel at wetwillsports.com. That is STANDARD. Get you a title towel at wetwillsports.com. Guys, we are moving along. So let's talk about Alabama and having the buy-in and team into Kalen DeBoer with guys not really leaving, hitting the portal, going into year 2. And Ty Hayes, I'm going to let you start this one off, and I want to get Dan James' thought. Or you want regarding on the buy-in and what we're going to expect to see in this Alabama team. And Dan kind of mentioned it earlier. A lot of teams want to write off, or people want to write off Alabama and they don't want to be worried about Alabama. But I think this is a great sign that they probably need to be getting a little bit back worried about the Crimson Tide. Ty?
Good. Let them underestimate. I love being underestimated. Right?
Yeah.
That's the best place to be. So 2 things on this. One, the buy-in, it's palpable. You have guys not jumping in the portal. Now, you lost some walk-on guys, right? I wish them all the best. I hope they find a place where they're able to go contribute and just ball out and pursue their NFL dreams, right? I wish them all the best. I'll be rooting for every single one of them. But when you're talking about not losing scholarship players in the era we're in, that's just unheard of. Like, that is really big. But also the flip side of this is what Alabama did in the portal, where DeBoer and Courtney Morgan, right, someone who's regarded as one of the best roster builders in college football, looked at the roster and said, you know, we could use a few depth pieces at tight end. So what do? You go out and get a few depth pieces at tight end. But they weren't stressed. That, to me, inspires so much confidence where they were like, hey, if we can get a few depth pieces, guys who are just going to push the guys around them to make them better, to make the defense better, that's awesome. But we love what we have. I think if you're an Alabama fan, you have to be extremely excited about what this means for 2026.
Damn.
No doubt, Ty. You know what I'm saying? I think they, Coach Grubb is a guy, he likes to run a lot of max pro, but to do that, you got to have tight ends that are willing to block. You got to have inline tight ends. And, and we knew, going in the spring, we had one scholarship tight end. And, he was the 5th, 6th guy on the depth chart. So we knew that was our pressing need. We had concerns. How will the tackles hold up? We'll be breaking in a new right tackle. So, but when you're running max pro, you put a tight end out there to help them out, but you got to have a tight end. So that this tells me that Coach Grubb, Coach Cap, they're pretty confident about what we have as far as tackles. Let's say they just said, hey, but we got to, get these guys some help, so, for us to go and just look at it and say, we're not going after the big name, the big guy. We're going after guys that can supplement and contribute to what we're trying to do here. That tells me the confidence that they have on the roster, the guys on the roster, so, just like, it goes both ways, just like the players are showing buy-in by not leaving the portal. The coaches are showing buy-in by trusting the guys, that they have, showing belief. So, that says a lot about this team. And as far as them being dialed in, it's kind of similar to the 2020 year, where everyone was saying we might not even have play football, but the team was so locked in, they were determined. They would not be denied. So I kind of, put this team similar to that because they're very focused. The guys are buying in, they're doing everything we're supposed to be doing. We're not having guys, getting speeding tickets and crazy stuff, we have going on. But, it tells me, the focus that these guys have, and the buy-in that they have for the staff.
Listen, Chris, before I give it to you, I'm kind of combining our next topic. Is there any concerns you have with Alabama going in this 25 season? If you want to comment on this, play your comment, but let me know your concerns for Bama going into the 25 season.
Really, for me, as far as concerns, this is the first time in a long time, fellas, I really don't have any major concerns. Like, think about it. Last year, we were a complete opposite. We were a 180 compared to where we are now. We lost 20-some guys to the portal. Saban retired. It was a lot of distraction for a team that's going to compete for a national championship. We were behind the 8 ball from day one. We were depleted in the secondary. And we had guys coming in that was trying to feel their way. We had guys that came in that we needed to make be that impact guy, like Parker Brailsford. We needed him bad. LT Overton. We needed him bad. Damani Jackson. We needed him bad. Keon Saab. We needed him bad. Everybody we bought in, it wasn't to feel like the kind of like to add to it. It was more to fill holes, big holes, major needs. And this year seems different. It just seems like we're adding to the tight end room. I mean, we have Danny, we have Quavers and Oots. I mean, not Oots, Quavers and Danny Lewis, but we're beefing it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that was the one position that we pretty much could use a body or two at, and we got that solidified because everywhere else we're pretty much loaded, guys. And to have nobody leave, knock on wood, Dan, to have no arrest, nobody in the headlines about getting in trouble doing stupid stuff this all season. Cool. Like this has been a knock on wood, a well-behaved team. This all, and they seem locked in and dialed in and focused. And and I'm really not concerned because I think we have leadership. Because you got to understand, Ty Simpson set the tone. This guy sat behind Miro for 2 years. He sat behind Bryce Young his freshman year. Mm-hmm. Was he there? Bryce Young's freshman. He watched two different starting quarterbacks get their turn before he got his. And when other teams were throwing money at him, he stayed. He showed loyalty. He waited his turn. Was something that you don't see in college football anymore. And to have that, the most important position on your team at quarterback, that shows leadership. Like how can you not? Like you see Ty Simpson do it, sit there. So he can really say, guys, I did it. I sat here. It's my turn now. And guys will follow because the guy really lived it, man. You know what I'm saying? He really lived it. Jam Miller, he's going to year 4. I mean, we're a very seasoned team, man. Jaden Robinson's been there for a while. So we have a lot of guys that have played a lot of football. A lot of snaps. And so we're not a green team. We're a very seasoned team. And I think that we have the type of team that's built for an SEC run and a deep run in the college football playoff. Yeah. Because of the depth we have. So I'm excited.
Deontay Lawson as well.
Yeah. Deontay Lawson. Tim Keenan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
Marion Latham. Yeah.
Marion Latham. Doggone. I mean, we just have guys that have sat there and waited their time, man. And then guys like James Smith and Rousseau, it's their time to shine now, and we know what they can do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a mixture of good young talent with a mixture of fresh talent, and then that just came in through the portal, and a mixture of seasoned veterans. Yeah. So it's like a complete everything you need to have like the perfect recipe, Matt. The hoist that trophy. Next January. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Obviously, I'm glad we got a lot of depth. My concerns, I'm just glad we don't have Nick Sheridan. I'm glad we got Ryan Grubb. But listen, we got a challenging little schedule. We go down to Tallahassee.
Close to me. We gonna meet up at that?
I don't know.
It's an hour from my house. Let's go.
And, hey, I got a question, Bama fans. And I'm sorry, I grew up in the 90s. It was cool. The chop was cool. If I'm in the Bama section wearing Bama stuff, will it be frowned upon if I chop?
No.
Okay, good, because I'm going to. Be prepared. I've always wanted to be in that stadium and chop. But, man, you talk about the schedule. Somebody asked. That's great. Matt, I'm going to pull this up since you mentioned it.
I know we got at Florida State.
At Florida State, La Monroe, Wisconsin at home. Then we go to Georgia.
We have a bye week before Georgia.
Bye week before Georgia. Then we got the revenge game against Vanderbilt. Missouri on the road. That could get tricky. Tennessee comes home.
South
Then you-
Carolina.
South Carolina on the road with Lenore Sellers, that defense. Stewart's going to be, God knows how good that kid's going to be after a year in college, after he was last year. Then you come home to LSU. Look, the Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma gambit is where that's a tough run.
I still got Bama going.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this. And if you, give Tennessee a toss-up game, South Carolina, Georgia, and LSU. I think this is a 10-2 team that could go 11-1, guys.
Hey,
I think the quiet Alabama should scare the shit out of people because you mentioned it, Chris, beautifully. There was so much noise last year. You had the Saban players leaving. You had the Washington guys. There was no continuity on that team, and you saw it on the field. You saw it on the field against Vanderbilt. But what you heard in this offseason, it goes into the question, nobody left. People are starting to buy in, man. And the talent's gotten, I think, a little bit better. I think the offense is going to be more open. I think this team is going to take a step. Well, guess what, man? You were one win out of the playoffs last year. You add one more win to that, one more somewhere else, and you're positioning yourself as one of those top seeds. And like you said, y'all talked about, there's been no disciplinary issues in the offseason. It's just been a very quiet. Guys, I know we're in a different world of college football. I know last year was weird. I know it's not Saban. I know it's DeBoer. But if I'm the college football world, the silence out of Tuscaloosa would scare the shit out of me.
I agree.
Is someone harboring a kangaroo?
I believe.
Listen, it's funny you said that. It was
we have a hostage situation somewhere in this chat, in this screen. I'm not going to point fingers, but it's probably one of the identical looking houses on the lower level.
He's got something going on in that back closet over there.
Maybe it wasn't Justin with the hostage situations all this time.
No,
so guys, I'm going to change the last topic. I want to get y'all's thought. This is going to be very fun. It's been a trending topic on Twitter. If you had who would win, 100 guys versus gorilla. But I'm going to channel it to Alabama. Give me your top 5 Alabama players now or in the past to go. If you had to draft 5 players in Alabama history, who would you have go against the gorilla? I'm going to start with.
To draft again? Okay.
I'm going to go with one. A'Shawn Robinson. I feel like that dude was an absolute freak. Big, not intimidated by anything.
This might be the most hilarious thing I've ever typed.
Y'all gonna laugh at my 5.
Chris, go on, give us your 5.
Anthony Bryant,
Big Bear,
Good one.
Anthony Bryant, Aries Monroe.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Bitch to ever live.
Anthony Bryant, Aries Monroe, Mount Cody.
Mount Cody, you gotta have Mount Cody.
Mount Cody. Chance Warmack.
Ooh.
And Landon Dickerson.
You gotta have Landon Dickerson.
So I'm gonna go with ones that weren't named. Right?
Okay, go Ty.
Reuben Foster, because he's gonna be beating the hell out of that gorilla while smoking a cigarette.
A Newport.
Rolando McClain.
Rolando, gotta have Rolando.
Gangster.
Raekwon Davis, right? That's one that y'all are thinking.
Yeah.
Huge, right? Like he's gonna go. Deron Payne.
Oh man!
Oh my God.
Man, okay, I'm a name 5 too that had been named. So they took them one of mine.
And then lastly, and this is where it gets tough to me. But lastly, I'm gonna go with Will Anderson screaming off the edge.
Oh,
and knock the hell out that gorilla. So that's my 5.
Let's go, Dan.
All right, let's see. All time.
Dan's about to knock some off my list. I can feel it.
No, I'm gonna try to. Well, let me see. Well, maybe, but let me go with Curry and Copeland.
Off the edge.
Yeah, give me those 2 guys. Let me see. I gotta have a big nose, man. Man, let me give you my guy, man, Nick Gentry.
Nick Gentry.
You know, you got to have a nose to hold him up.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Oh man, let me go along the line. Oh, DJ Fluker. DJ Fluker.
Did you say DJ Fluker?
DJ Fluker.
Damn it!
There's
one.
All right, let me see. Let me get another one. Let me go with another lineman. Man, Marcel Darius.
Oh, good one.
Great one.
Great one. Dan, the floor is yours.
I definitely got to go with Quanjo.
Eric Quanjo.
I mean, two.
You going with brothers?
And man, Jarrett Johnson may be the meanest son of a bitch to walk through.
Jarrett Johnson.
He tried to kill me one night, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it. I got to apologize on air last week. It was amazing. He didn't remember it. And I'm gonna go with Big Red, the big fullback.
McClintock.
I'll never forget. I got to, he got kicked out of the UCF game for fighting, and we were in a bar one night having a few drinks. I was like, dude, why did you beat the shit out of a Central Florida guy? He said, we ain't beat the shit out of no one all day. Somebody had to leave that stadium. I was like, good answer. So he gets on my list. I'm going to go. I mean, come on. Derek Thomas?
That's what I was going to say. Derek Thomas.
Derek Thomas?
Hey, we gotta protect Derek Thomas from the gorilla. We can't put him in that.
And I'm going with the guy who is as big and as strong as a gorilla, and that's Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Give me Derrick freaking Henry. He will run that damn gorilla. He will stiff arm that gorilla.
And I got a wild card too. 2 wild cards for intimidation factor. Tony Brown. This guy was freaking. He would look at the gorilla and maybe make the gorilla be like, "What's up with this dude?"
that guy's got the crazy eye. I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah. And listen, I'm gonna throw the Bear in there. Wasn't the legend of Bear Bryant that
his name is Bear Bryant.
He wrestled a bear growing up, so I mean, you maybe could throw the Bear in there. All right, chat. Give us your 5. Give us the in the chat. I want to hear the 5. Somebody said,
"Can I throw a non-Bama player in there just to sprinkle? Give me
Albert Hainsworth.
No, give me Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Oh,
right,
yeah,
undefeated in the UFC, and there is genuine footage of him wrestling a bear. There's actual footage on YouTube. Look it up of him as a young kid, and as his dad Abdul has him wrestling a bear.
I got some footage somewhere of me wrestling a bear. I got to pull it up. Yeah, but man, I actually wrestled a bear. Yeah,
the only bear you wrestled
is a koala bear.
The only bear you wrestled was that bear on that track around that corner when you got around that curve on that 400, and that bear jumped in your back.
I thought he was gonna say teddy bear.
No, I ain't gonna ever call my brother soft now.
I beat the shit out of Teddy Ruxpin. I beat the shit out of that Teddy Ruxpin.
Chat, give us your top 5 Bama players to wrestle a gorilla. Christian Love said Jonathan Allen, DJ Fluker, Dante Hightower, Quentin Williams, and Reuben Foster.
I'm taking. Look, if Reuben Foster's, I'm with you, Ty. If you don't put that heat-seeking missile on your list, I don't know what we're talking about. Who's the linebacker in your day? I'm missing one. I'm not the not Aries Monroe, who was the scary nobody.
Brooks Daniels.
Brooks Daniels.
Hail Mary. Mac 10.
Mac 10 is the one I'm thinking of. Mac Wilson.
Mary, boy. Hey, y'all. Bart Ross is 6'10", 360 pounds. Big Bart.
That's why I picked Raekwon Davis. What is he, 6'7", 6'9"?
6'9". Yeah.
6'7", 6'8", 310 pounds.
Yeah, that's why I picked Raekwon Davis.
That's a funny topic. I enjoyed that. That's
the funniest.
I had to change it up, guys. So
the funniest memes I've seen with that.
What?
Is people talking about, man, they're going to tell stories of what the gorilla did to that first dude for generations to come.
I'm going to be like 99. I'll be like, get him, guys.
Like 100 dudes. Okay, it's 100 dudes. You fight on your
got to wear him down.
No, because they said somebody said like after what he does to the first 10 dudes in the first minute, the other 90 going to scatter. You fight or die. Like you fight or die. So and you get one weapon.
Do y'all think is the gorilla tank? Is it winning 100? Is it gonna?
So I got 100, man.
I mean, you would have to game plan and be like, all right, guys, some of y'all are going to be sacrificial lambs, and y'all
it depends on who the men are. You know, are they trained or whatever? You know.
Nah, I'm going.
If that was the case, we never have silverbacks in the zoo. So you know what I'm saying? They can be trained. Now.
I'm going gorilla.
I'm gonna be the one in the tree.
There's a reason we are the dominant species. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we got weapons.
Yeah. Good.
All right. So guys, let's go close this out for today. But we thought we'd give you a little comedy in our last topic. So let's get to the question and answers. Was that the Q&A?
No, hold on. We did have a few.
Okay, let's get to a few Q&As.
Hey Matt, a gorilla or a bear?
Oh, are we doing the silverback gorilla bear thing? I think that's been like debunked.
I might go bear. I'm going bear.
I might go grizzly, man.
Grizzlies, they put the fear of God in me.
I mean, if the grizzly catches the silverback with those claws, it's game over, right?
If I'm not mistaken, the grizzly had so much fat, and you know, I seen one time a gorilla was, I mean, not a gorilla, a bear and was it a tiger or something? The tiger was trying to bite it, but the bear's coat was so thick. So I don't know if the gorilla would be able to do much damage to the bear.
Polar bear get them both.
I am blowing up our group chat with posts that I've saved about this very topic.
The silverback. There's a definitive answer, isn't there? And I think it's and I may be wrong. Is it not the bear?
I don't know.
It ain't too much I see beating a bear.
We'll have to ask AI, ask Chat GPT.
What about Dan in the Australian kangaroo?
Man, they got
kangaroos ain't no joke. I don't mess with nature, man. I'm sorry.
What is you see?
Man, these hands are registered in Australia, man. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all heard the stand-up neighbor Godsey talking about, you know, back in the day, you go to the fucking circus or carnival and you could pay $5 to fight, you know, an orangutan. And you're like, they didn't have the internet. So how do you know that something with arms that big around can knock your ass clean out? Unless you ask the guy, like, hey, man, how did it go? He's like, well, it knocked me out. Well, I wouldn't have expected it. Me neither. Look at them arms. But
I'm not fighting nothing of the monkey species.
Hell no. No.
All right, let's get to this question. Joe Edwards, Priestley, says, will Jalen Mbakwe get playing time this year besides special teams, or we hit the portal? I think he'll get sunburn. I think he'll get sunburned, but I think special teams is the route. Chris, Pettey. Look at Pettey. I'm trying to be positive.
See you later, alligator.
Ty, what do you
think? Everybody I know that got to go witness practice had one comment. They said, "Where was Mbakwe? We didn't see him."
Dude,
I think, man. I think he's good. There's a lot of talent in that secondary. Ty, you guys do a great job, Dan, always breaking down. That's going to be a place where there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of really good players. And, you know, you're trying to mix time on offense. I don't think he's going to be – I think the kid's escaping my mind. The other slot guy that's Cole is probably going to be your kick returner. Cole Adams going to be your kick. If he can't beat out Cole at kick returner, then he's not
going to have to do it at – he's going to have to do it at kick returner.
He's going to have to do it at kick returner. And are you thinking you're going to get enough looks as a kick returner to get any kind of draft stock? In this day and age – he already flirted with it last year, and that's where, you know, I get it. I don't know, man. That was a weird one. They kept him. I think if he does it this year,
bad advice.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll fight to keep him.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Like athletes, the guys that come in as athletes never do well at Bama because
you got to play. You gotta
Verse
dominate one position first.
DJ Scott, Henderson, guys that come in as like don't have a true position, they never tend to do well. That's why I'm worried about the Arrington kid that we're recruiting.
That's why I was going to go with Dan. Dan, quick, can you give us a quick recruiting update? I saw Xavier Crowell change his commitment day. Anything you're hearing regarding about that?
Well, I've always liked what Bama sat with him. He's expected to commit sometime in the summer. So, official visits happen next month towards the end of the month. So, we'll start seeing a little more movement then. So, but I like where Alabama sits with Xavier Crowell. I never thought he was going to go to the December 31st date, which is past the first, the early signing day. I never thought it was going to go that far anyway. But he's going to pick sometime. I'm expecting during the summer, and I expect it to be Bama.
What about Arrington?
Brandon Arrington, he's been, he started out, he was a heavy Texas A&M lean, and actually Jonathan Lewis and I, we did a video, we didn't mention him on screen, but I think it will come down to Alabama and Oregon. I don't think Texas A&M is in it as much. I don't know. It could be surprise. It could be smoke screen, but I think Bama is in the top two, whether it's Bama and Oregon or Bama and Texas A&M. And Coach Mo visited him yesterday, so he had a really good visit. And one thing they mentioned was the development. The job that Coach Mo has done with his secondary. So I think that will play in Bama's favor.
Okay. We got any more Q&A?
Yeah, we got one more. One final. I do want to give one devil's advocate on Mbakwe. Look, the kid has the talent. And I do hate the microwave society. I even fall prey to it at times. He's still young. This is a PSA, man. This is time. Don't hop. Stick it out. Like, you've got the talent. Get better. By your second, there's nothing wrong with starting by your junior year if you've got to develop. But the talent's there. Stick it out. Don't hop around, kid. Let Alabama develop you if it's not working out this year, because there's never been a doubt about talent issue with Mbakwe.
Yeah.
That's a great question from Rick Morrison. Will our schedule get better in 2026? Better, I don't know if we're talking better, but we're talking about different. I'm really curious on how the SEC is going to do this with they're obviously not caring about some of the traditional rivalries. How are they going to flip that up? You didn't see Bama, Ole Miss, Bama, Mississippi State, Auburn, some of those games. Do they completely rearrange the schedule? Ty, Dan, Chris, y'all heard anything on this?
No, I haven't. Listen, does it get better in 2026? It's the SEC.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's just different names.
No, unless
I think we'll flip Oklahoma for Texas. I do expect that.
Well, hell, they can give us the Texas treatment. That's the only thing,
Yeah, unless you're Texas, who somehow walk into the league with the velvet glove treatment, which is the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. I think it'll be kind of the same. I think we got let me see if I can pull it up. Obviously we have shoot, okay. Then give it to me. Well, I think the schedule will be just like it is. It's tough. We got Florida State, I believe, coming to the house. We got we go at West Virginia, UCF, Florida State. So at West Virginia, South Florida, Florida State. So it keeps coming. So.
Is it South Florida or UCF?
USF. Sorry, South
USF.
Florida. Sorry.
Like that. They like that South Florida series, don't they?
I hate it. I got too much PTSD.
I like it because it gives a chance for Bama to end up in Ray J 20 minutes from my house. So I'm good with it. I don't know. They hadn't announced the SEC yet. I imagine it's going to be a big shakeup, though.
Well, it'll be no more Georgia. I think it depends on who they add.
We'll probably have to play Florida. We'll probably have to go to the swamp for sure.
Florida or Texas.
Yeah.
But Florida got to come to us,
Well, we
right?
already did our.
I think Florida,
Texas,
Florida
Florida,
do to come to us. I think, but
I think it'd be Florida.
we went to South Carolina like 2 or 3 times before. So.
The question is, they're going to keep Auburn and Tennessee. Do they drop LSU off the schedule, which would be weird?
That should never happen. That should never happen.
No.
It should never happen.
We had to keep
one.
If we had to keep one, I'd rather keep LSU and lose the Iron Bowl.
I can guarantee you one thing that'll finally happen. Georgia will probably end up finally have to go to College Station. How somebody can be in the conference for 12, 13 years and you haven't been there to play them yet?
But listen, College Station ain't even what it used to be. By the time Georgia go there, to be like going to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. In Georgia, they'll have to make sure they fly because they can't drive over there. All right, Ty, how about them?
Peace, bud.
You doom.
All right, guys. So listen, follow the cast. You know how you can find us. See us on Twitter. All our at Coach Chris James, at Final Whistle Dan, at Pettey _Daniel, at 402 Lush 1, and at Caddell 11, at Around the Table _sports show here on the Final Whistle Network. Listen, we got different shows. Dan, can you talk about your show tomorrow, Crimson Dynasty?
Yeah, be sure to tune in tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central, the Crimson Dynasty with my co-host, JB and Cici, the queen of all things Bama. Y'all be sure to tune in. I appreciate everyone in the chat. You catch me on X at the Final Whistle Dan. You catch me on Instagram, Dan James 4.
Awesome. Pettey, I know you got different shows.
Man, I bounce around all over the networks. I'm here with you guys on Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. The Avengers here on the Final Whistle. But yeah, Monday night, catch me on the opening kick at 7 Central, 8 Eastern with my man Smoke Dixon. Always raising some kind of grief on that show. And then, man, I'm moonlighting these days on the Bama Standard before this show. So catch me there. And that's it these days, man. No more Thursday shows. So that's it. Catch me on all that stuff.
Chris,
you can catch me on here every Tuesday night with the Avengers. And just follow my social media, Chris K. James Sr. on Facebook, at Coach Chris James on X, and Final _Whistle _Chris on Instagram.
Dan?
Christian Love, the Bama 5 versus the Gorilla. Number 1, Matt Caddell. Number 2, Chris James. Number 3, Smoke Dixon. Number 4, Marvin Constant. Number 5, Bo Scarborough. Love it, Christian.
I already told you I'm gonna be in the tree.
Listen, I'm the coordinator. I'm calling plays what they need to do.
Matt ain't run a 40 that fast since he was a wide receiver at Alabama.
They'll be like, good gracious.
Damn, man, I didn't know you were a 4-2 guy.
Matt's gonna have his headset on, his lane keeping play sheet. He's gonna be like, all right, Marvin, go get him now, Marvin. Go get him now.
I'm gonna be in the booth too.
You know what y'all all gonna do? Y'all all put up with Smoke Dixon's ass at some point. Y'all just gonna push him out and take off. Y'all gonna push Smoke out in front of the gorilla.
Marvin gonna be so swole. So
hey, Marvin might take on the gorilla. Come on,
Marvin's I'm a linebacker. Ooh, let's flex.
All right, guys. Listen, that's what we do here on the Final Whistle, man. We keep it funny.
Didn't mean to cut off Dan though. I just saw that though.
Oh, Dan, yeah. We no, you didn't cut off Dan.
Oh, I didn't.
Dan, how can they find you?
Oh, I already gave mine.
Okay. Well, listen. Speaking of, this is what we're gonna have the gorilla saying once we defeat the gorilla. We like to end on those 2 words. We love to say, "Roll Tide, roll."
Tide.
Get that ass, you gorilla.